regardless of the truth, Pyro is a widely beloved and respected creator, and people want to see him come out from this on top. My first...
Hello everyone, this is AR from Pyrocynical. Today, we're going to be talking about Turkey Tom. Turkey Tom is a commentary YouTuber that requires absolutely no introduction. He discusses many of the topics in YouTube drama, which includes Leafy Series, Slauzo, Pokimane, and H3H3. Joining in the year of 2015, he has acquired over 15 million views. If you're watching this video, you most likely know Turkey Tom as the person who accused and attempted to prove Pyrocynical's guilt in the grooming allegations of Ivory Rasmus. Pyrocynical made a response to Turkey Tom's document, and Turkey Tom eventually made a response. And here's why I don't agree with Turkey Tom's response.
Ironically accuses me of in the video. He opens it up by talking about the accusations of grooming and being some sort of predator, and then makes the rest of the video about my document and videos made about my document, as if I was accusing him of either of these things.
Well, technically, you kind of are. Here, let me explain why. In your Google document and your 2 videos regarding this situation, you have labeled Pyrocynical as guilty of a certain crime. While you may not have publicly endorsed that he was a groomer of some sort, you definitely did leave enough room for interpretation for the community to make that judgment. Pyrocynical has addressed this already, and you claiming that you were not endorsing this merely because your verdict was no is ridiculous, mainly because you had placed it already so far down, places where not many people are going to see it. This tactic isn't new at all. Many companies such as TurboTax have hidden in their terms and conditions, and especially in the websites, what they're supposed to be legally obligated to give you, and there's already a reference of TurboTax willingly removing some sections in order to pilot you into a different direction. Your intent may have not been malicious, but your actions say otherwise.
To most of it. This is a misrepresentation of my videos and my intentions. He's moving the goalposts. It's an attempt to shift the focus of the video on disproving those allegations and conflating them with what I actually said. By responding to my points in tandem with points that I never even made, and not even clarifying who made the argument, he makes it seem as if these are all from me, but they're just not. In my original video, I flat out said that there was no evidence of grooming and that he's not a pedophile. She even pointed to his age being younger than 15 and said that while the age gap was bad, she doesn't think that it constitutes grooming. And I agree completely. It may not constitute grooming. And in the follow-up document I released about it, I made the claim that I didn't really know either way, leaving it up for the readers to decide. Is Pyrocynical a groomer? While I first stated no, after these new leaks, I don't feel comfortable saying no. That being said, Ivory's basic message can be legitimately proven to be true. When he was 19 years old, Pyrocynical messaged a...
Here, Turkey Tom attempts to make a point establishing that Pyrocynical is attempting to quote-unquote move the goalpost in an attempt to delegitimize Turkey Tom's arguments, so to speak, labeling Turkey Tom as the sole perpetrator of the one making these allegations. However, in Pyrocynical's video alone, you can easily see that Pyrocynical barely, if at all, mentioned Turkey Tom's name. In rebuttal to Turkey Tom's point about never claiming that Pyrocynical was a groomer or pedophile, as was accused by Ivory Rasmus, his actions contradict his statement most likely multiple times, especially him labeling Pyrocynical as guilty in multiple of his videos, especially him comparing Pyrocynical to Kiwis, which is not a good look.
And embarrassingly wrong.
He says that the allegations are insane, as if they're so ridiculous to the point that any of it could possibly be true. However, as time goes on, he has to make multiple concessions and admit to most of it.
What tweaks me a bit about Turkey Tom's claims about this one is that he claims that Pyrocynical admits to most of the faults. However, what he isn't clarifying is that what Pyrocynical is admitting to is that he's only admitting to the roleplay. Turkey Tom is attempting to frame it in a different way, misrepresenting it, which ironically is what Turkey Tom is defending himself against from Pyrocynical's response.
Age 16 out of 19 only then to confirm that I never actually sent or received nudes.
While this is the case, this wasn't a malicious move, and this isn't really a point I even had to acknowledge because the original accusations had nothing to do with sending naked pictures of himself to anyone. He claims that I hid this detail in the middle of a paragraph, but it's right there. I can't hide the words, you just have to read it.
It also tries to twist conversations like this one. You know, like claiming that this isn't part of the roleplay, but discussing the hypothetical of having sex with Ivory. No context. No conversation before, no conversation after. You're just meant to interpret this as 100% I wanted to have sex with him in person.
And as for the idea that I twisted it from roleplay into actual conversations about sex, well, that's exactly what it was. You're telling this guy that you're going to eat his cock up with your ass, and at the same time claiming that this is absolutely no basis in reality. Which is ridiculous because that's exactly what you're fantasizing about doing. Roleplay itself is literally fantasizing about having sex and sexual interactions. I don't know how he would even try to make this point. You could make the argument that you're just imagining your personas having sex, but this doesn't line up with the actual DMs between Ivory and Pyro, where he says stuff like, I bet your cock is so hard from imagining that, and I bet that turns you on. This even lines up with...
Here, Turkey Tom attempts to make the point that you cannot hide facts, and I disagree with that. Mainly because I've already referenced this and explained this beforehand, so if you've already missed it, I suggest you go back to the video and watch it again. For Turkey Tom's second point about roleplay being the same as sex, no, just no. However, since some people's opinions may vary on that, I won't expand on it. However, I believe it's unfair to assume that Pyrocynical wanted only sexual relations with Ivory merely because of the roleplays, and due to our lack of context, and I've mentioned this before as well, it's unfair to assume that this was the sole intent. It's unfair to also automatically assume that Pyrocynical, with these conversations, was exploiting Ivory, especially with our limited information and context.
nullifies it.
As for the other message, I don't remember seeing this message, and I'm not sure why it's being used as proof that I knew he was 15, because if you compare the dates, this message was sent 2 months after he sent me his link with his age in bio.
And I would concede on this point if Pyro had stopped talking to Ivory once he learned of the age gap, which he didn't, and Pyro admits this in the video.
In retrospect, I never should have continued the furry stuff with him once I learnt of his age, even though at the time, I didn't see it as a problem.
Additionally, the idea that simply because he wasn't dating Ida at the time, she would have no reason to talk about Ivory's age to him is kind of laughable. Pyro frames this as if they were barely friendly at the time, when Ida clearly says that they were calling every other day in DMs, and we can see group chats from this time when they were all together. Art from 4 years ago, where she draws art reflective of his fetish, is also publicly available online. His argument here is basically that despite the fact they knew each other, were in group chats together, Ivory people, including people they both knew, was very vocal about his age on Twitter, that he still just didn't know and was somehow hiding it from Pyrocynical. And hey, it's fine if you disagree, but a lot of people see this as circumstantial enough to think that he must have known. It's not irrational.
Since I do not have enough time, this will be the final point I cover in the video. Here, Turkey Tom attempts to make the point that it is unlikely that Pyrocynical would not know the age of Ivory due to Ivory being extremely vocal about it on Twitter and other social media sites. However, with the Twitter point, Pyrocynical had been suspended during the time period in which many of the text has been given. The main issue with this circumstantial evidence is that, again, we don't really know if it happened the way it was depicted to be, especially how Turkey Tom is describing it. It requires an extremely specific set of events to occur for this to happen, and we're not sure if this really happened. There's not enough evidence to support that this is the case. This is going to be all I'm covering for now, and I know I missed a lot, but if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll hopefully try to answer it. I'm also going to say that this will most likely be my final video regarding the Pyrocynical allegations, as there is no other thing to go off as of now. As I stated before, have any questions, leave it down in the comments, and I'm going to be attempting to expand into commentary, so next week it'll most likely be a commentary video, and until then.